Good morning and welcome to Love Every Moment, coming to you today from Glen, New Hampshire. Today's verse is Matthew 6:3 and also verse 4. It says, "But when you give to the poor, do not let your left hand know what your right hand is doing, so that your giving will be in secret, and your Father who sees what is done in secret will reward you." Now, we may not be able to do our giving in absolute 100% secrecy. If I give a check to a church, someone's going to see the check, a secretary or someone. But as much as we can help it, we don't want to make a production out of it, as in verse 2. We want to give in as much secrecy as we can manage. With that in mind, there are churches that want their giving to be very public. They want you to give very openly. And some will even say, now take out your wallet and hold it up and I'll give a special blessing over your wallet and blah, blah, blah. Well, if a church is like that and they don't really understand that our giving is to be in secret, that's a church I would probably avoid myself and might suggest that you do the same. Now it says when you give to the poor, remember that we're not only giving to the poor, we're even giving to our enemies. We saw earlier that if our enemy is hungry, we should feed him. If he thirsts, we should give him a drink. Also in Matthew 5, if someone sues us and takes away our coat, we should give him our cloak as well, and give to him that asks of us without expecting anything in return. So we are to give in many different ways, not only to the poor, but in other ways as well. And why? So that we can get back. I have to point this out. There are some churches, especially prosperity churches, that will take a verse that we're going to get to later that says, "Give and it shall be given unto you," and they figure that, well, that means monetarily. If I give $20, the Lord will give me back 100. And they preach this. And the Lord will bless us for giving, but what is the reward in verse 4? Or in verse 2, their reward in full is the glory of men. We don't want that. The real reward that we're going to get is a closer relationship to Jesus. I mean, is anyone going to say, no, that's not a reward? That is the reward, as we are less dependent on human money, right, and more dependent on Him. So I avoid churches that preach that we are to give so that we can get back. That's not the purpose, so that we can be closer to Him and less dependent on money. So let's look at another cross-reference here, and that is a familiar one, 1 Corinthians 13:3. It says, "If I give all my possessions to feed the poor, and if I surrender my body to be burned, but do not have love, it profits me nothing." So, I'm going to propose this. Is it possible for a non-Christian to do a Christian act? I'm going to suggest, yes, it's possible. Can a non-Christian give to the poor? Sure. Is that a good thing? Sure. But does that make them a Christian? No. It is possible for us to give with the wrong motives. We can give not out of love. We can give, for example, expecting something in return. That's not a giving in love. Remember Ananias and Sapphira at the end of Acts 4 and beginning of Acts 5. They give with the wrong motives and they suffered because of that. So we want to make sure that we're giving with the right motives, mainly that it's, number one, out of love, and number two, so that He will get the glory and not us. It's His glory for giving. So reward is going to come, and that again is that closer relationship. One final thing, as I've been on the road now full-time for over 3 years now, I have not given monthly to my home church as I used to do for many years. And I'm not suggesting that anyone stop giving to their home church monthly, but the Lord has put it on my heart to just save up that tithe and to give when He prompts me to give to a special situation or person or ministry or something like that. And that's really made me a lot more reliant on listening to His voice. It's made me grow a lot closer to Him. And that's probably the best blessing of all, because if we love every moment, we're going to love every moment. I'm your average wretch, and I hope you have a great week.